Guards don't give a fuck. What had caused me to give up? Well, number one, I suppose, and to get this out of the way, is if I had a bad accident. Like if I fucked my leg up or fucked my arm up. Although I saw a story there recently, if you read this month's Bike Buyer's Guide, there was a chap who lost the use of his arm years and years ago, and he got some lads to reverse the switchgear on one of the new DSG bikes, the new automatics, and he's back on the road. So never say never, I suppose. But I think your confidence would take a knock if you had a properly bad off. So that's number one, get that one out of the way. Remember now, guards don't give a fuck. Number two, just to contradict one of the respondents on boards, I can't remember who it was, who basically said if they brought in the NCT or MOT test for bikes, that'd be the end of him. I'm kind of the opposite of that. I wish there was an NCT or MOT for bikes. There's too many old death traps going around on the roads with young fellas buying them and pass them around among themselves. It's you don't see that many. I mean, deep people tend to have basic self-preservation, but I think either if I wouldn't mind an NCT or an MOT for a bike once it made a certain amount of sense. What would put me off the road, or would come close to putting me off the road, is if you stopped being able to have a bike in Ireland that you could get serviced by an actual trained mechanic and certified mechanic. I'm just to add a counterpoint, I'm sort of a dealer service kind of a fella. You know, I'd rather just have it signed off on such that it wasn't some chap in a shed who was doing the work on your bike. So that's why I've a BMW, which Motorrad will service for you, and a Kawasaki, which theoretically Bike World has a Kawasaki fella in there. So those are one of the reasons why I got those bikes. If I stop being able to do that, one of the biggest things that bothers me about motorbikes in Ireland is it's all very informal. It's all very sort of, here's a chap's mobile number kind of thing, which is grand in a way, but if you want peace of mind, you're not going to get it from a chap in a shed out his back doing work on a machine you rely on to keep you alive. Number three, just to completely contradict myself on number two, I think it'll put me off the bike if a lot of the grey areas around what you can and can't do on bikes were stamped out. If people started enforcing laws completely, and I mean specifically around stuff like filtering. Filtering is actually legal. You can filter in Ireland once it's, I don't know, done carefully, etc., etc. The RSA has a bunch of stuff around done carefully, blah blah blah. What they actually mean is there aren't actually any laws around it. You can do it if you like. The other thing is bus lanes. I do ride in bus lanes. I don't apologise for it. There's a apocryphal story, which mightn't be true. That's what apocryphal means. That the guards and Dublin Bus and Dublin City Council and everyone got together a couple of years ago and said, do we want to let motorbikes in bus lanes? You know, who cares if we let motorbikes in bus lanes? And nobody said they cared except Dublin Bus, who were like, they might delay buses or some other bullshit. So what the guards did is they said, we don't give a shit. We're not going to enforce it. So I've pulled up beside bike cops on a number of occasions in a bus lane. I've come into checkpoints. You saw this morning I had a cop car come up behind me. Nobody gives a shit. It's actually grand. If they started enforcing that, it would put enough time onto my commute that it'd probably make it not worth it, time savings wise, and I'd really hate to give up commuting on the bike, and that might put me off the bike. It might decide it's not worth having after that. Other stuff like parking and stuff like that. If you park the bike out of the way on a footpath where it's not blocking anyone, it's generally grand. Although you'll see fellas saying, you know, you're not supposed to, but sure, it'll be grand. So that's number 3, grey areas. Number 4, if I moved and I didn't have anywhere to keep the bike, my bikes live in a locked garage that's alarmed. It's on a monitored alarm, and they're chained to the ground with ground anchors, and I wouldn't have it any other way. If I lived even in the place I used to live a few years ago, or if I lived in town, I see lads with bikes parked out the front of houses in town and everything like that, and I see them, and it's a shame, because it's only a matter of time before some fucking scumbag comes and robs it. So my bikes are parked either at home, locked up like Fort Knox, or in work underneath the security guard's nose, or outside the window where I'm at. I'm nervous even leaving a bike out the front of somebody's house chained for a couple of hours. So I think my paranoia would get the better of me if I moved into a place where I didn't have a garage to lock stuff up in.